Some of us just can't get enough of those big budget titles, the ones crafted by top tier studios that deliver games we'll be playing for years to come. That's why I've put together a list of the 10 best studios and their standout games. Each of these games brings something special to the table, providing unforgettable experiences. So here's a look at some of the best AAA studios that have truly raised the bar in gaming. Sucker Punch: Ghost of Tsushima. This is one of those games that gave the studio worldwide recognition. Before Tsushima came out, not a lot of people had any clue about Sucker Punch, except for those who played the infamous. Not gonna lie, that is one hell of a game if you are a fan of Spider-Man or Prototype. Anyways, I believe Tsushima is the prime example of what Sucker Punch can really do. They made an incredible open world game that can rival even the major AAA studios. From start to finish, you'll be hooked into this beautiful open world where every area holds a side mission or other interactive places. I can't even remember how many hours I spent exploring the world, seeing different locations, finding new items, or simply completing new missions. There's no doubt that you can easily spend over 70 hours just wandering around into the open world. Now, story is definitely worthy of mentioning, but even if you don't focus on it, the game is still capable of providing you a great time. Throughout the story, you see our character Jin struggling and getting better. Without spoiling anything, Tsushima's story is about honor, right or wrong, and becoming worthy of a protector. You'll see each moment of Jin's life, his struggle for the greater good of his people. It's really something that you can call an absolute masterpiece. Also, how can we forget the finest combat? There's a lot more to it than just slashing enemies. The standoffs, which are always a feast for the eyes, the secret weapons in the ghost mode will truly make you feel like a ninja, and then there are the different stances. Each stance is suitable for different type of enemies and offers a perfect sword play. My favorite was water stance, as I loved how Jin can kill enemies in a smooth flow of the sword. Anyways, if you haven't played this game, then there's no better time than now. Also, make sure to check out Infamous Second Son if you have finished Tsushima. Rockstar Games: Red Dead Redemption. We all love Rockstar Games. GTA is definitely the series that made the studio our favorite. Honorable mention goes to Manhunt as well. But in my opinion, as someone who loved spending time in the Wild West, Red Dead 2 is the game that puts the studio on pedestal. No one can disagree that every time Rockstar makes a new game, it's always a big thing. We can't even wait to see what they're gonna do with GTA 6. Anyways, some players call Red Dead boring or slow-paced, but I honestly don't know what to say. Maybe give it a little more time. The first chapter isn't full of action, but it's an essential one for setting up the storyline. I loved each and every moment of this game, whether it be robbing trains, trying out new weapons, engaging in the side stuff, or just messing with the NPCs. Red Dead is a game that you're surely gonna love and keep playing for a long time, even after completing the main story.
I had a look at.
You're good as dead. Just one good shot, you're dead.
There's always something new to discover, and I'm fascinated by how YouTubers are still finding new stuff and making shorts about it. The story of the gang is heart-touching. You'll laugh, you'll cry, it's just full of emotions. But most importantly, Arthur is the most well-written character. I still can't shake the feeling of how overwhelmed I was after the ending. Throughout the story, we get to know about his personal life, his struggles, his illness, and how great a person he is. You can't help but feel proud of how much he's given to the benefit of the gang till the end. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but who knows, maybe Rockstar will release some sort of spin-off. Because a third part isn't going to be possible because the story ended on a perfect note. No matter what, the game is a must-play for every open world fan, or even someone who likes to experience a good story game. Everything in Red Dead is worthy of being called a masterpiece. Maybe some of you will say that I'm exaggerating it, but it is the truth. You must finish the entire game to realize what I'm talking about.
estate for the federal.
Hey everyone, I've got some super exciting news to share with you today. If you're into mobile gaming like me, you're gonna love this. I've partnered up with Aptoide, a massive third-party Android app store with over 300 million users, 7 billion downloads, and a million apps. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And guess what? Aptoide is offering some exclusive perks just for you. Let me break it down for you. First things first, I have an exclusive code that gives you a 5% bonus on your purchases for this awesome game Star Trek Fleet Command. You can use the code PDragonTrek for Star Trek Fleet Command, and you can earn up to a 25% bonus on all your in-game purchases. How cool is that? And this promo is running for the next couple of weeks, so get on it while you can. Now, to get started, it's super simple. All you have to do is install the games through Aptoide. I've got the links in the description below for you. Just click download and you're good to go. And don't worry if you already have the game installed, you can upgrade via Aptoide without losing any of your progress or achievements. Next up, you'll need to install the AppCoins wallet again. Link is in the description below. Think of it like your personal wallet for all these cool bonuses. When you download it, just follow the steps to redeem your bonus code. And here's how it works. You start off with a 5% bonus instantly. But the more you use it, the higher your bonus can go, all the way up to 25%. It's like gamifying your purchases, and who doesn't love more rewards, right? So to wrap this up, if you want to level up your mobile gaming experience, make sure to download Star Trek Fleet Command through Aptoide using the special links below. Don't forget to use the promo codes PDragonTrek to snag those sweet bonuses. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. Links are all in the description. Go check them out, grab your bonuses, and I'll see you in the game. Now let's continue the video. Bethesda, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I'm one of those players who found out that Bethesda Studio exists because of Skyrim. You could say that Skyrim is the all-father of RPG games. Witcher 3 also deserves an honorable mention. Now, I know that most of you who are into this genre have already played the game, especially the OGs. The game has everything in it: the tall mountains, some detailed NPCs, political affairs, fantasy elements, a lot of magical spells, and different landscapes. Some of us prefer the vanilla version, while some like to add the mods to the game better. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with mods or vanilla. You could try to play the game in its original state, but if you don't like it, then by all means go ahead and install some graphical mods. Compared to other games in 2024, it'll be a crime not to play the game with updated graphics. If you guys ask me, then I probably won't recommend this game to a newcomer unless you have played the other famous RPG games. Don't get me wrong, I just feel that for someone who's just entering into the series, it's all going to be confusing or a bit overwhelming. You'll need to spend a couple of hours before you can get an idea about what's your purpose. The entire game is sort of a mix between killing the dragon and the political matters. The first time I played the game, even I got confused in it. However, believe me, you must finish it. I was so happy after finally playing it the second time and learning about everything. I don't know whether or not we are going to get a new installment, but if you're looking for a slightly different RPG, then Skyrim will be a great choice. The freedom it offers is unmatched. You can choose to follow the main storyline, dive into countless side quests, or simply wander off to see what you stumble upon. The game does an amazing job of making you feel like a true adventurer. Whether you're battling dragons, sneaking through a bandit camp, or crafting a new set of armor, everything you do feels impactful. Skyrim has this magic that keeps you coming back, finding new things even after hundreds of hours of play. It's one of those games where you feel like you're a part of a grand adventure.
Why do you care? A Nord's last thoughts should be of home. Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
Capcom, Okami Resident Evil, Dragon's Dogma. This time we are talking about two best games, and both of these games are definitely the best. Let's talk about Okami first. This Japanese-style open-world game is a best pick for those who are a big fan of the art style in video games, and the world almost feels like a painting. You can't help but say the word beautiful. It's as if every frame could be wallpaper. Sure, it's an old game, but it's certainly something remarkable and highly underrated. I have huge respect for those who played Okami and loved it. Besides a stunning world, the game also offers a cool feature where you can use a brush to pretty do everything in the game. The combat and puzzles are to be done with the brush you draw on the screen to unleash attacks or solve problems. It's so unique and just flows with the overall aesthetic of the game. Okami is a mix of mythological and Japanese folklore, so you'll find yourself amidst all these Japanese beliefs and traditions. There's humor, there's emotion, and some really memorable characters. It's one of those games where you feel like you're on a journey. The soundtrack is also a gem, perfectly matching the mood of each area you explore. Now, about Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm sure RPG fans already know about this game because it was such a huge release of 2024. But most importantly, let me tell you something about the series. If you guys played the original years ago, then you will get a rush of nostalgia as a lot of content is exactly the same with some major upgrades in the mechanics, visuals, or graphics. However, if this is your first time diving into the series, then you can definitely go with the sequel. Nothing is that much connected story-wise, so you're not gonna miss anything. Also, I love the original. I played it this year in January, and I still had a memorable time. The DLC is something else, so it all depends on you. If you can adjust with the game's environment, then the original Dragon's Dogma will still be a great pick. You will also get a highly difficult DLC. The game is jam-packed with a variety of enemies and areas. There are also some pretty cool customizations in terms of weapons and outfits. Bonus tip would be to add a graphics mod file if you're playing the game in the PC. From Software, Sekiro, Elden Ring. How can we finish this list without mentioning the greatest from Software? I'm a huge fan of Souls games, and it's not like it all happened in a moment. It will take you some time to start liking the Souls games. These are some titles that are not for everyone. Many people quit Dark Souls for the level of difficulty, but if you finally manage to get through it, then you'll know how awesome Souls games really are. Anyhow, in this list, we will be talking about the two best ones. Sekiro and Elden Ring. Sekiro is my favorite Souls game because I love playing as a shinobi or samurai. The game is definitely the hardest one along with Bloodborne. But there are some things that you can learn to make your gameplay easier. One of them is parrying. Parrying and timing your attacks are two key tricks to getting better. Also, each boss has their own style, so you need to learn a lot of new moves, new methods of approaching the enemies, new tricks to weapons. Sekiro is something where every feature of gaming is all wrapped up in a perfect burrito. The combat and gameplay are two things you will fall in love with. I finished the game 4 times, and each time I discovered something new, and the combat felt different in every playthrough. You can also increase the difficulty in a New Game Plus. We all know that those who finish the game will never look at other high-intense combat games the same. Every moment feels epic, and every takedown is itself an accomplishment. Now, there's nothing much to say about Elden Ring, because everyone already knows about the first open-world Souls game. In fact, for some people this is the game that introduced the Souls genre. Some players found out that From Software Studio exists just because of Elden Ring. The reason I'm calling this the best game of the studio is because of how different it is than other linear titles. Another reason is also the popularity and sales. Elden Ring is a huge turning point for the studio, and I just hope that they go back to making linear games. Sure, an open world game sounds amazing, but I know that most of you will love to see another Sekiro or Bloodborne too. Nintendo, Legend of Zelda. I think you guys knew that this was going to happen. Sure, Nintendo has some other great games, and even some old titles, but Breath of the Wild will be a nice game to try out, or even revisit in 2024. The sequel is better, but the word iconic is more suitable for Breath of the Wild. It's a game that brings a refreshing feeling to the RPG genre. The game's world is nothing like you're familiar with, such as Witcher or Skyrim. The open world feels a little anime style or a painting and slightly hand-drawn. There's nothing wrong with it, I just wanted to let you guys know, the game will pull you in and never let you go. You feel like you're in a pure fantasy world with creatures to defeat and secrets to find. You're dropped into this massive, beautiful open world with so much freedom you can go anywhere, do anything, and tackle challenges in your own way. Every corner of the map holds something new, whether it's a hidden shrine, a powerful weapon, or just a stunning view from a mountaintop. I'm sure that when you first start the game and see the world stretched out in front of your eyes, you'll definitely think of just wandering around in it and explore as much as you can. Now, aside from the open world, there's also combat. It's really satisfying, especially when you start learning how to use different weapons and exploit enemy weaknesses. But it's not just about fighting, it's about survival too. Cooking food to restore health and gain buffs, managing your stamina while climbing or swimming, and being strategic about when to engage or avoid enemies. All this adds depth to the experience. One of the coolest aspects is how alive the world feels. The changes in the weather feel real because when a storm rolls in, you have to be careful not to hold anything metal, or when it's too cold, and you need to wear the right gear or cook something spicy to stay warm. The sense of realism and smallest details feels incredible. You feel like a part of this world that's been broken, and there's a real sense of urgency to what you're doing, even if you're just wandering around for hours on end. Every memory you recover, every piece of lore you uncover is important and increases your progress a bit further. Breath of Wild is easily the best games I have ever played. CD Projekt Red, Witcher, and Cyberpunk. Finally, we are talking about the two most epic titles that defined a new era of gaming, or maybe era is not the right word, but it's for sure that both games showed something new and fantastic. Witcher 3 is a game that brought us something new and exciting about the RPGs. You have got a huge open world with a variety of areas, a great cast of characters, some steamy scenes, an epic story, and a lot of monsters. Also, the best looking DLCs. I loved entering into a colorful world of blood and wine after finishing the main story. That was one of those moments where I was like, yeah, this is some royal fantasy. Colorful kingdom, NPCs working on dice, characters dressed up in royal outfits. It all felt new and engaging. It was like a small spin-off or a brand new Witcher game. Anyways, I was going through some comments on the other videos and I saw people being negative or asking what's so good about Witcher 3. It can't convince you guys, but it is the truth that the game is a masterpiece. Maybe it's not your jam. So you just respect everyone's opinion and let it go. A lot of us believe that Witcher 3 is a blueprint of how every fantasy RPG should be. Now, let's shed some light on the futuristic Night City Cyberpunk. This is one of those games that most of us were extremely excited about, and yeah, it did disappoint us at the initial release, but everything is fixed now. However, I know that the initial bugs or glitches will act as a stain for some time, but you guys should definitely try this game. Even if you're not into the sci-fi stuff, Cyberpunk is still a pretty decent title to get lost in. There are a lot of cool missions, a great story, tons of weapons, vehicles are awesome as well, and don't even get me started on the customization. I was shocked to see this many options of customizations. To be honest, it felt too much, so I just created a normal character with minimal stuff. However, if you are a fan of making changes, then you're intrigued, because there's a lot that you can do. The open world is loaded with the content, and the buildings or skyscrapers are a sight to behold. The Night City looks amazing with all the flashy neon lights, and even the alleys are properly lit up.
You one way or another. You hear?
Naughty Dog, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. As someone who's played the game, I can tell you it's one of those experiences where you need to sit back after finishing it and think about how amazing everything was. The fourth part acts as a perfect tribute to Nathan's journey. It really pulls you into Drake's final journey. The addition of Sam, Nathan's brother, makes the game 10 times better because of all the family or brotherly moments. Uncharted 4 does a great job of blending action scenes followed by the quiet family moments. It feels like you're on a wholesome journey. Now the graphics and visuals are another best thing. Most of us know that the game has some stunning graphics, especially the jungles and the ancient ruins. Throughout the story, you visit a lot of places, and each of those areas looks nice, which enhances the experience. I remember I was excited to see where the game will next us in the mission. It all felt great to explore ruins, jungles, islands, and mansions. The linear style is an important feature because it made the overall gameplay or experience better, as you're not in any rush, or there's no sense of boredom. You pretty much move forward from one awesome place to another. Now, the combat and parkour movements are my next favorite thing. I love when I parkour free run in video games. It's a joy in its own. And Uncharted 4 nailed the concept perfectly, as it's neither too much nor too less. You have a perfect amount of parkour or acrobatic movements, jumping from the cliffs, silently taking down enemies, hanging from the edge. All this gives a feeling of an adrenaline rush. But what really sets Uncharted 4 apart is the level of detail in everything from the animations to the voice acting. You can tell Naughty Dog put a lot of love into this game. Now, I have said it before, but if you are a fan of the series, then Uncharted 4 is the perfect send-off. Or if it's your first time, then this game will make you want to go back and play the earlier ones. Santa Monica, God of War, man with revenge, and a man with temper. Kratos has been our favorite guy who loves to smash skulls and tear gods apart. His journey has been incredible, and with the 2018's release, players are delighted to experience the God of War journey on modern consoles. The visuals are over the top, and don't even get me started about Ragnarok. That game is way more amazing and probably the highest quality one. For this video, I'm just giving the entire series a shout out, but if you want to play something, then make sure to try the newest God of War games. Both of these games have epic storylines. The first part sets off the prophecy, and Ragnarok brings up the curtains on the Norse saga. We see Kratos in a whole new way. He's not the same rage-filled guy. This time he's calmer and caring for his son. We see him working together, strategizing, choosing the right tactics, and most importantly caring about the other people. He's not the ghost of Sparta we used to know. After Ragnarok, he's finally worthy of becoming a perfect God of War. I think in the future we will see more God of War games in different mythology, though enough about that. Let's talk about some epic stuff that you get to see in the current games. I have already talked about the story, so the next best thing is combat. The axe, the blades, and even the spear in the sequel. All these weapons have got their own uniqueness. We are all familiar with the Chaos Blade, so the axe is a new touch as it really feels like a boomerang. You can throw it anywhere and it comes back every time. It's like your personal Mjolnir. Even in combat, the axe feels like a blast as you can easily crush skulls or cut off creatures' legs. In the sequel, you get the spear, which is a nice addition as spear and shield are the first weapons a Spartan soldier gets. Overall, you have a powerful arsenal. I would also like to give a shout out to the relation between father and son and with other characters. During the journey, we see a lot of heartfelt moments. It's more like we are seeing them grow side by side. Seeing Kratos teaching his son, getting furious about his actions, giving him knowledge, or simply talking about his past. It adds such a nice touch to the overall game. Before I reveal my final picks, here are some honorable mentions. Hangar 13, Mafia games. The series has been one of my favorite crime games. It really brings out that old nostalgic Godfather vibe, the Italian mafias, gangster stuff, busting gangs. It all just really changes the flow and you feel like you're playing something else. It's a bit like Grand Theft but with a touch of mafia elements. Even though some people have mixed opinions about the series, I still believe that if you're in the mood for some high octane, like finding clues, exploiting secrets, busting other mafia gangs, then Mafia is the series you really need to play. All three parts are great, but you should start your journey with the original. It'd be nice to play the series in chronological order. Eidos Montreal, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow is more of a graphical overhaul with a lot of puzzles, so if that's your jam, then you're in the right place. You have got awesome action combat, nice discovery moments, and some of the cutscenes are epic, and the story is engaging as well. You won't get bored that easily. Stealth is refined in a better way. So, you can sneak upon the enemies instead of guns blazing. Now, 2013's Tomb Raider is my second best game in the series. The first is Rise because of all the action and cutscenes. If you played the older Tomb Raider games, then the 2013's release will serve as a fresh point. You'll see how far the series has come. Also, even if you are new to the series, you must start with the 2013's title and play the entire series in chronological order. From the moment you start the game, you're struck with this feeling that you must do whatever it takes to survive. You need to hunt for resources, craft and upgrade yourself. There's a literal touch of survival elements. Also, it's a nice feeling to see Lara once again with an updated look. She's our favorite archaeologist, and a bit similar to Nathan Drake.
Shit, there's more. More coming.
Old Ubisoft Far Cry 3 Prince of Persia series. The reason I mention old is because the new Ubisoft is just different. New AC games aren't what they used to be. Skull and Bones was a major disappointment in my opinion, and don't even get me started on the Star Wars. That's why I think it's right to talk about our old favorite games. Far Cry 3 is the ultimate game in the series. It's the one I like the most. Such an old game looks so impressive even in 2024. The story is deep and will hook you in. You won't even realize how fast everything changed. Suddenly, seeing Jason changing throughout the gameplay is fascinating because the mere plot of just getting off the island quickly changes into something more bizarre. The game still feels great and worthy of rivaling because of how engaging the open world feels. You have got a lot of side content besides the main story. You can hunt for different animals, destroy outposts, or just wander around the map in various vehicles. Now, Prince of Persia is yet another epic title of Ubisoft. I will always be sad that the studio decided to go with Assassin's Creed. It would have been nice to see more pop games. Sure, we got Lost Crown, but it's nothing like Two Thrones or Warrior Within. Sands of Time is the most widely known pop game. So, if you still haven't played that one, then make sure to give it a try. My favorite is Two Thrones because of the whole Dark Prince stuff. The entire series is mostly a linear experience with time rewind powers, cool weapons, and a lot of monsters. There are also some fine cutscenes. The puzzles makes it all impressive because you spend a lot of time pulling levers, jumping on platforms, turning the wheel. Square Enix, Final Fantasy. This is one of the popular studios, and there are a lot of games that deserve mention. However, it's just really hard to choose. So I simply went with two of the best ones. Both of these games are extremely different. So you can dive into a linear adventure with stealth, discovery, and puzzles, or you can experience some amazing cutscenes with an iconic team of characters.
Is what a scoundrel might say, but I wouldn't dream of distressing y'all further. Just so happens one of our birds ran off the other day. Wild thing, but still a...
Cloud has always been the face of the series, and in the 7th part you'll know why. Also, just to let you guys know, I'm talking about the remake because it's much better than playing the original in 2024. The characters are more refined, the visuals look impressive, and the turn-based combat is updated. It's like the game is completely new and anyone can play it regardless of their history with the series. Just by playing the 7th remake, you'll find out why the Final Fantasy series is so popular. We have got the classic Sephiroth, stunning looking Tifa, and the iconic broadsword. Final Fantasy VII could be a nice entry into the series.
Aw, isn't he just the cutest?
Alright, this concludes the list of the best AAA games from every major studio. It's without a doubt that all these games are unique in their own way and have got something special. So, depending on your mood, you can either dive into fantasy RPGs or explore open worlds, even get your hands on some Mafia action. One thing is for sure, you're gonna have a nice time playing each of these games. I know that some of you guys have already played these titles, but if you missed, then definitely give it a shot. Anyways, if you have made it this far, then please subscribe as I'm close to reaching 21,000 subscribers and join my Discord for helpful gaming content.